Every electric motor running right now, in your refrigerator, your washing machine, the elevator in your building, runs on the same principle. One man designed that principle, entirely inside his mind, before he touched a single wire, not on paper, not with a model. He carried the complete, finished running machine inside his head for 5 years, through a breakdown that almost killed him, through 2 years in Paris where nobody would listen, through a year in my factory where I cheated him out of his money, through months digging ditches in the streets of Manhattan. 5 years. The motor was still running in his mind, exactly as he had seen it, waiting. And when he finally walked into a room with some wire and some tools, the machine he built was exactly right. In 20 years, that was never once wrong. How is that possible for a human being? His name was Nikola Tesla. My name is Thomas Edison. I hold more than 1,000 patents. I hired Tesla in 1884, and what I saw of him was something I have never been able to explain. This is his story, told by the man who tried to stop him. It begins on a winter afternoon in 1882. Budapest, the city park. The sun is setting over the rooftops. A young man is walking with his friend. He has spent months bedridden, his nervous system so shattered that the ticking of a watch 3 rooms away felt like a hammer blow. A fly landing on a table in the next room caused a dull thud in his ear. A carriage passing miles away shook his whole body. He could not sleep. He could barely function. He is recovering now, slowly, with daily walks through this park. His name is Nikola Tesla. He is 25 years old. He has been carrying an unsolved problem since his student days. A flaw in the electric motor that every professor in Europe had declared impossible to fix. He has tried nothing, built nothing. He has simply carried it, in the back of a mind that will not let it go. He is reciting Goethe's Faust, a passage about the setting sun, about the end of the day, and then, mid-sentence, he stops. His friend stops too. Tesla is standing completely still, staring at something his friend cannot see. He is not thinking about the motor. He is seeing it, not a sketch, not a rough idea, the complete machine, 3-dimensional, rotating in front of him, as real as the trees in this park, as real as the gravel path under his feet, as real as the setting sun above him. He can watch it turn. He can stop it in his mind and reverse it. He can examine every coil, every winding, the rotor spinning inside a magnetic field that no machine in the world has ever used before. He can check it for wear. This is not thinking. This is not calculation. It is seeing with the same clarity as if the machine were standing on the path in front of him, turning in the last light of the afternoon. Every engineer in Europe had said this motor was impossible. Tesla is looking at it right now. He grabs a stick from the ground. He drops to one knee. He draws in the sand, the complete design. Exact. Nothing missing. He says to his friend, "See my motor here. Watch me reverse it." The friend sees scratches in the dirt. Tesla sees the machine that will power the 20th century. And then, reality closes back in. He has no laboratory, no money, no machine shop, no equipment. He has a diagram in the sand and a vision in his head. The motor starts running in his mind. It will not stop for 5 years. That same week, Tesla moved to Paris to work for the Continental Edison Company, my company in Europe. He was 25 years old, unknown, with 4 francs in his pocket and the complete design of a revolutionary motor in his head. He tried to tell his supervisors what he had seen in Budapest. They looked at him the way people look at a man who claims to have seen something that does not exist. So Tesla did his job. He fixed generators. He repaired my electrical systems across Europe. He traveled to Strasbourg, to Alsace, to cities across France. He was good at it, very good, and management noticed. He was promoted, and every night, in whatever room he happened to be staying, he sat with the motor. Not on paper, in his head, running it, testing it, pushing it through scenarios no physical prototype could survive. What happens under load? What happens when the current fluctuates? What happens at maximum speed? He had answers for all of it. Not guesses, not approximations, but precise answers, because the machine in his mind was as real as any machine in any laboratory. He built a crude prototype in Strasbourg in 1883 to prove it to himself. He had no proper workshop, no funding, nothing but borrowed time and borrowed tools. The motor worked, exactly as he had seen it in the park. He showed it to his supervisors. They were not interested. The direct current system was working. The company was expanding. Why would anyone need something new? Tesla folded the drawings away. He went back to fixing generators, and the motor kept running in his mind. He spent 2 years in Paris. Every morning he woke up with it. Every evening he went to sleep with it. The other engineers at the company thought he was eccentric, too quiet, too intense, always somewhere else in his thoughts. They did not know where he was. He was in Budapest, in that park, watching a machine turn in the afternoon light. You have to understand what that costs. To carry something that brilliant, that complete, that certain, and have no one believe you. To wake up every morning knowing exactly what the future of electricity looks like and spend your days repairing the machinery of the past. That is what 2 years in Paris felt like for Nikola Tesla. In June 1884, Tesla stepped off a ship in New York with 4 cents in his pocket. He had lost his luggage and his money to mishaps on the voyage. He arrived with nothing but the clothes on his back and a letter from my associate Charles Batchelor that read, "I know 2 great men, and you are one of them. The other is this young man. I hired him. He worked for nearly a year. He worked from 10:30 in the morning until 5 the following morning. Every day, without exception. He redesigned 24 types of direct current generators that my best engineers had struggled with for months. He solved every problem, and the motor was still running in his mind. He had been carrying it for 2 years now, through Budapest, through Paris, through my factory. He had shown no one the full design. The complete machine existed only inside his head, patient, precise, unchanged. Then he asked for the $50,000 that had been promised. I did not pay him. I told him he had misunderstood American humor. Tesla quit. He spent the next year digging ditches in the streets of Manhattan. The man who had seen the alternating current motor complete in a Budapest park, who had carried the running design inside him through a breakdown, through 2 years in Paris where nobody listened, through a year in my factory where I took his work and gave him nothing, was now in a ditch, swinging a pick, in the street outside the buildings where I ran my empire. New York in 1886 was tearing itself apart to lay the pipes and cables of a modern city. Thousands of men worked in those trenches. Most of them had nothing, no education, no English, no prospects. They swung picks and shoveled dirt and went home to crowded rooms. Tesla swung a pick alongside them. He was 30 years old. He'd been carrying the motor for 4 years. He had crossed an ocean. He had worked for the greatest electrical company in the world. He had solved problems that stumped my best engineers. And he was in a ditch. There were days, he later said, when the bitterness was almost unbearable, when the gap between what he knew he carried in his mind and what his hands were doing felt like a physical weight. Other men in those trenches had nothing. Tesla had the complete design of the machine that would power the 20th century, and he was shoveling dirt alongside them. And the motor was still running in his mind, exactly as it had been in Budapest, patient, unchanged, as complete and perfect as the moment he had first seen it on that winter afternoon in the city park. 4 years had passed. The machine in his head had not degraded, had not faded, had not changed. It was still there. In late 1886, a foreman heard Tesla talking about his ideas and introduced him to 2 investors who agreed to back him. In April 1887, they opened a small laboratory for Tesla at 89 Liberty Street in Manhattan. Basic tools, some wire, minimal equipment. Tesla walked in. Edison watched Tesla carry a machine in his mind for 5 years, and build it without a single mistake. And now, 5 years after Budapest, Tesla built it, not designed it. The design was finished 5 years ago in the sand of a city park. He walked into that laboratory and reproduced, from memory, from the running machine in his head, the motor he had first seen at the age of 25. The motors I built there were exactly as I imagined them. I made no attempt to improve the design, but merely reproduced the pictures as they appeared to my vision. And the operation was always as I expected. 5 years, through a breakdown that nearly killed him, through Paris, through my factory, through a year of digging ditches in the street. The motor he built at Liberty Street was exactly the motor he had seen in the sand. Not one exception. How is that possible for a human being? I have thought about it for the rest of my life, and I do not have an answer. I built my laboratory at Menlo Park on the opposite principle. I believed that the way to find an answer was to test everything. My men and I tried thousands of materials before we found the right filament for the incandescent bulb. Thousands of failures. Each one told us something. Each one moved us forward. That is how invention works. That is how every engineer I have ever known works. Tesla once said of me that if I had a needle to find in a haystack, I would not stop to reason where it was most likely to be, but would proceed at once, with the feverish diligence of a bee, to examine straw after straw until I found it. He was describing my method. He was not wrong. Tesla did not examine straw after straw. He looked at the haystack and saw where the needle was, and then he carried the needle in his head for 5 years, through a breakdown, through Paris, through my factory, through a ditch in the street, until someone gave him a room and some wire. Westinghouse bought Tesla's patents in 1888. The alternating current system became the foundation of the modern power grid. Every power station in the following century used Tesla's principle. Every motor running in your home runs on it today. I fought it. I was wrong. In 1917, the American Institute of Electrical Engineers gave Tesla the Edison Medal, the highest honor in our field. Named after me, I was told he accepted it reluctantly. During the ceremony, he disappeared. They found him in Bryant Park, covered in pigeons, feeding them in the fading light. When they brought him back to the auditorium, he thanked the men who had believed in him. He said nothing about the ditch. He died on the 7th of January, 1943, alone in a room in the New Yorker Hotel in Manhattan. He was 86 years old. He had given away his alternating current royalties decades earlier to save Westinghouse from ruin, walking away from what would have been one of the greatest fortunes in American history. He tore up the contract. He kept nothing. The man who designed the electrical system that powers your home died penniless in a hotel room. Every outlet in your home, every motor in your refrigerator, every power grid on Earth, built from a machine that ran inside one man's head for 5 years, through a breakdown, through Paris, through a factory, through a ditch in the street, and emerged on a spring morning in 1887 on Liberty Street in Manhattan, exactly as he had first seen it. In 20 years, that was never once wrong. Not once.